How following quick impulses can silently destroy your success. This one habit silently destroys your success, and you don't even realize it. It started with one of the most humiliating moments of my life. I was 17, broke, desperate to prove something, anything. I remember walking into that gas station, my hands trembling slightly, not because I was afraid of being caught, but because I was about to do something that didn't feel like me. And that's the point, it wasn't. All I did was swipe a chocolate bar and a Red Bull. That's it, but what haunted me wasn't the crime. It was what it revealed. You see, in that moment, I followed an impulse, a quick flash of desire. A split-second lie I told myself, it's just one time. No big deal, I deserve it. But let me ask you something. Have you ever done something small, impulsive, that didn't feel right, and later, it ate at you, like a worm crawling behind your pride? That gas station moment wasn't about candy. It was about losing control of myself. And that's why today, we need to talk about something few people dare to face. How following quick impulses can silently destroy your success. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. The things that ruin our lives rarely come with fireworks. They come quietly, in urges, in whispers, in split-second decisions that we make when no one is watching. And by the time we notice the damage, the structure of our success has already rotted from the inside. But I'm going to show you how Stoicism saved me, and how it can save you, from this slow destruction. So buckle in. This isn't some lecture or motivational fluff. This is a war cry. Because if we don't master our impulses, they will master us, and when they do, they don't just take our money, our focus, or our time, they take our soul. Let's go. Blank. Underscore. Blank. Think about the last time you tried to diet, or stick to a routine, or stay calm when someone disrespected you. You had a plan, right? A goal. You were determined. Then, boom, one flash of irritation, one craving, one tiny exception. I'll just cheat a little. I'll respond just this once. I'll do it tomorrow. That's impulse talking. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor who literally ruled the world, once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." But the problem is, most of us have surrendered that power without even realizing it. Let me tell you about a friend of mine. We'll call him Jake. Jake had talent, big dreams, but he had one fatal flaw. He couldn't delay gratification. Every time he earned money, he spent it. Every time a girl texted, he dropped everything. Every time stress hit, he'd smoke, drink, or rage out. From the outside, he looked alive, fun, spontaneous. But inside, he was decaying, slowly, quietly, impulse by impulse. One day, he called me, nearly in tears. He had just blown $7 on a car mod, money that was supposed to go to rent. "I don't know why I do this," he said. "I can't stop myself." But he could. He just hadn't learned what Stoics call the art of inner control. You see, the Stoics didn't believe in denying emotion. They believed in disciplining it. And the only way to win the war against impulse is to become more powerful than it. And here's how that starts. By recognizing that every impulse is a test of your character. Every time you feel that pull to indulge, to lash out, to quit, or to give in, you're standing at a crossroads. One path feels easy, natural, comfortable. That's impulse. The other path feels hard, disciplined, maybe even painful. That's Stoicism. But only one of those roads leads to greatness. Let's go deeper. Do you know why quick impulses are so seductive? Because they promise relief without consequence. But that's a lie. The Stoics called this appearance, the seductive illusion that some action will bring pleasure without pain. But every impulse carries a cost, a piece of your focus, a crack in your discipline, a fracture in your integrity. And over time, these cracks add up, until your life becomes a house with no foundation, a tower of dreams built on quicksand. Ask yourself, What have your impulses cost you? Time with loved ones? Opportunities? Self-respect? When I reflect on that gas station moment, I see the pattern. That wasn't the first impulse I followed. It was just the first that woke me up. Before that, it was skipping workouts, watching mindless videos instead of reading, saying yes to people when I should have said no. You see, quick impulses feel harmless, but they train you. They train your nervous system to surrender to whatever is loudest in the moment. And the more you feed them, the more they dominate you. And when you live in reaction, you lose your reason. And if you lose your reason, you lose your freedom. Seneca once said, "No man is free who is a slave to his passions." You might be free in your country, free in your home, free in your job, but if you cannot resist your impulses, you are still in chains. This hit me hard one day when I was scrolling social media for hours. Again, my to-do list untouched, my mind foggy, my spirit low. I looked in the mirror and asked myself, am I really living, or am I just reacting to every ping, every craving, every fear? That question haunted me. Because the truth was, I wasn't living, I was drifting. And I realized, if I don't master my impulses, I will never become who I was meant to be. So I started the hardest journey of my life. I decided to confront every impulse, no matter how small. It was brutal. Saying no to instant gratification is like detoxing from a drug. Your body screams, your mind bargains, but that's where growth begins. And I want you to know, it's worth it. Because when you begin to win these invisible battles, something extraordinary happens. You start to feel powerful, not arrogant, not cocky, but grounded, clear, awake. You stop chasing, you start choosing. You stop reacting, you start creating. And suddenly, success stops feeling like a distant dream. It starts becoming inevitable. So here's your challenge. For the next 24 hours, track every impulse. Every time you want to check your phone, eat junk, skip a task, snap at someone, escape discomfort. Notice it, breathe, pause. And then, choose. That's Stoicism in action. And that's how we begin to reclaim the life our impulses have tried to steal from us. But we're just getting started. Because if you think resisting small impulses is hard, wait until you face the impulses that come dressed as love, ambition, or even justice. The hidden impulses that masquerade as your dreams and secretly sabotage your future. Let me tell you something you might not want to hear. Some of your deepest desires aren't actually yours. They're impulses dressed up as purpose. Let that sink in. Have you ever chased a goal with everything you had, pushed, sacrificed, obsessed, only to finally reach it and feel nothing? Empty, burned out, numb. That's not failure. That's the consequence of chasing a dream that was never real to begin with. A dream that was born out of impulse, not wisdom. Let me explain. A few years ago, I met a guy named Daniel. Smart, charismatic, ambitious. He had this fire in his eyes. He was going to make it big, no matter what. His dream? To launch a startup, get rich, buy the penthouse, prove everyone wrong. I asked him once, why do you want it so badly? He didn't hesitate, because I want to feel like I matter. That hit me like a punch to the chest. Because I knew that feeling, that hunger to prove your worth, to be somebody, to quiet the voice that says, you're not enough. But here's the thing. That kind of ambition, it's not born of reason. It's born of pain. It's an impulse, a reaction to a wound. And Stoicism teaches us something radical. You cannot build a free life on a foundation of emotional reactivity. Seneca warned about this over 2,000 years ago. He said, he who indulges in empty fears earns himself real fears. And the same goes for desires. When you chase hollow goals, you earn real suffering. You see, Daniel didn't want freedom. He wanted validation. And validation is one of the sneakiest impulses of all. It wears a mask of success, but underneath, it's driven by insecurity. And that's why the second type of impulse is even more dangerous than the first. Because it doesn't feel like weakness. It feels like passion. It feels righteous, justified, even noble. But it's still an impulse. And if you don't examine it, it will hijack your life. Let me ask you something personal. Why do you want what you want? That car, that relationship, that body, that job, that applause. If you trace the root of that desire, where does it lead? To peace, or to fear? To clarity, or to insecurity? To wisdom, or to impulse? This is where Stoic self-mastery becomes crucial. It's not just about resisting cravings. It's about interrogating your motivations, holding them up to the light and asking, does this truly serve my higher self? Or is this just another illusion pulling me away from who I'm meant to be? When Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Ask yourself at every moment, is this necessary?" he wasn't just talking about tasks. He was talking about the architecture of your life. What if the very thing you're chasing is the very thing sabotaging your peace? Let me tell you what happened to Daniel. He got the startup, raised the money, built the team, worked 100-hour weeks. And yeah, he got the penthouse, the car, the clout. But you know what else he got? Anxiety, loneliness, insomnia, burnout, a quiet, soul-deep despair he couldn't explain. Because he had won the game, but it wasn't the game he actually wanted to play. He had followed the impulse of ambition, not the wisdom of reflection. And that's why this segment matters so much. Because sometimes, the most dangerous impulses aren't the obvious ones. They're the ones that look like success. Let me show you a personal example. There was a period in my life where I chased achievement like it was oxygen. Every time I hit a goal, I moved the bar, more views, more money, more recognition. But the more I got, the more hollow I felt. I couldn't understand why, until I read Epictetus. He said, freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. That hit me like lightning. Because everything I was chasing was outside my control. I was trying to win applause from the world instead of winning mastery over myself. And once I realized that, everything changed. I stripped my goals down to the core. I stopped chasing more and started chasing meaning. I stopped performing and started practicing. I stopped asking, what will impress them, and started asking, what will liberate me? That's the Stoic difference. You see, life isn't about avoiding pleasure or ambition. It's about making sure those things serve your soul, not the other way around. And here's how you do that. Every time you feel that drive, that urge to chase, to push, to prove, pause and ask yourself, am I doing this out of fear or freedom? Is this the result of impulse or intention? Will this choice bring me peace, or just distraction? These questions are weapons. Use them, because when you gain control over your deeper impulses, something miraculous happens. You stop being a puppet to your desires. You become the architect of your life. But it doesn't end there. Because the hardest impulses to resist are the ones that disguise themselves as righteousness. Let me take you into one of the most painful moments of my life. There was someone I loved deeply, and they betrayed me, lied, manipulated, used me. And everything inside me wanted revenge. I rehearsed what I'd say, imagined exposing them, wanted them to feel the pain I felt. It felt so justified. But that's the third form of impulse, the emotional urge to strike back. It hides behind righteousness, but it's still slavery. Because if your emotions control your actions, you are not free. And that's what I learned in that storm. That true power is not in the retaliation. It's in the restraint. Epictetus said, if someone succeeds in provoking you, Realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation. Read that again. When you lash out, it's not strength, it's surrender. So I didn't send the message. I didn't make the call. I sat in silence. I breathed. I journaled. And you know what happened? I didn't just forgive them. I freed myself. Because when you resist the impulse for revenge, you don't just save your energy, you reclaim your identity. You choose to be a philosopher, not a puppet. You choose to build, not destroy. You choose to respond with virtue, not react with vengeance. And that choice, that pause, becomes your superpower. You might not realize it yet, but this is the greatest battle of your life. Not against other people, not against the world, but against the part of you that seeks relief over mastery. And every day you resist that part, you build something eternal. A self that cannot be shaken. A mind that cannot be manipulated. A heart that cannot be corrupted. That is the Stoic path. And it's waiting for you. But the final challenge is the hardest one of all. Because even if you resist cravings, even if you resist ambition, even if you resist revenge, there's still one more impulse that silently controls millions of lives. And it's the reason most people never find peace. It's the impulse to run from pain. Why your fear of pain is the real enemy, and how embracing it sets you free. Let me tell you something radical. Pain is not your enemy. In fact, the impulse to avoid pain at all costs is the real enemy. And until you understand this, you will never be truly free, never fully alive, never deeply at peace. I know that sounds extreme, but let me show you why it's true. Years ago, I hit rock bottom. Not metaphorically, I mean the kind of rock bottom where your dreams collapse, your health fades, your mind darkens, and you wonder if you'll ever climb out. I had been pushing myself non-stop, chasing success, ignoring my body, avoiding uncomfortable truths. I thought I was being strong. But the truth was, I was running. From pain, from doubt, from fear. I buried it in productivity, in distractions, in achievements. And then, one night, my body collapsed, literally. I passed out in my apartment, alone, from exhaustion and dehydration, no warning, no drama, just silence. When I woke up in the hospital, the doctor looked at me and said, "Your body shut down because you haven't been listening." That sentence broke me. Because he wasn't just talking about my body. He was talking about my soul. I hadn't been listening to the warning signs, the stress, the anxiety, the quiet inner voice begging me to slow down. Why? Because I had been trained, like so many of us, to fear pain, to avoid it, escape it, numb it, fix it fast. But here's what the Stoics teach, something that saved my life. Pain is not the problem. Your relationship to pain is. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed." What he meant is that suffering isn't just about what happens to you. It's about how you interpret it, how you respond to it. And most of us, we respond to pain like it's a fire. We run. But what if it's not a fire? What if it's a teacher? I began to wonder, what if every painful moment in my life, every betrayal, heartbreak, failure, disappointment, was actually an invitation? An invitation to grow, to see clearly, to develop courage, to refine my soul. And slowly, I started doing something unthinkable. I stopped running from pain. I sat with it. I looked it in the eye. And I asked it, "What are you here to teach me?" And what I learned changed everything. You see, the Stoics weren't emotionless statues. They were warriors of the mind. And their secret weapon wasn't avoidance. It was embrace. They believed that the very thing we resist, the discomfort, the hardship, the pain, is the furnace that forges strength. It's not something to escape. It's something to endure with wisdom. Seneca said, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." Let me ask you something powerful. What if the pain you're experiencing right now is the very thing that can unlock your purpose? Not the obstacle to your success, but the doorway to it? What if everything you've been avoiding, hard conversations, emotional wounds, uncomfortable truths, is actually the key to becoming who you were meant to be? That's not motivational fluff. That's philosophy. Let me show you how this plays out in real life. I had a friend, Mia. She was terrified of conflict. She'd avoid it at all costs. Smiled even when disrespected. Stayed silent even when mistreated. Why? Because when she was a child, expressing herself led to punishment. Her pain taught her that silence equals safety. So as an adult, every time she needed to set a boundary, she froze. Her impulse was to stay quiet, keep the peace. But inside, she was dying. Until one day, she broke down. "I don't even know who I am anymore," she said. "I've avoided confrontation so long. I don't know how to stand up for myself." That's what the impulse to avoid pain does. It steals your voice, your agency, your authenticity. So I gave her a challenge. For 1 week, every time she felt the urge to stay quiet, she'd say one sentence, just one honest sentence, even if it was uncomfortable. The first time, she told a coworker, that comment didn't feel respectful. She thought the world would explode, but it didn't. And something magical happened. Her shoulders dropped. Her chest opened. She started walking differently, speaking differently, living differently. Because she realized something profound. Avoiding pain doesn't make you safe. It makes you small. And embracing pain, consciously, doesn't destroy you. It liberates you. This is the final, most hidden impulse that destroys success. The impulse to avoid discomfort. It's what keeps you from trying something new. From leaving toxic relationships. From building discipline. From healing old wounds. But when you face pain with open eyes, you realize, pain is not the enemy. Pain is the forge. And every time you walk through it, deliberately, patiently, you become someone stronger, wiser, unbreakable. That's what the Stoics called invincibility. Not invincibility from harm, but from the illusion that harm defines you. Because once you realize that you can endure anything, and still choose virtue, you become unstoppable. So here's your final challenge. I want you to think about something you've been avoiding. That difficult truth, that habit, that pain. Now, don't run from it. Don't fix it, don't numb it, just face it. Write it down, stare at it, ask, what are you here to teach me? And then, make a plan. A small act, one brave step. Because action is the antidote to impulse. And every time you choose courage over comfort, you build a life that no impulse can shake. Let's bring it all together. You've now seen the 3 invisible forces that silently destroy your success. 1. The impulsive craving for pleasure and distraction. 2. The deeper impulse to chase validation and false dreams. 3. The most dangerous impulse of all, the urge to run from pain. But now you know the truth. Success isn't built on avoiding these impulses. It's built on confronting them, overriding them, mastering them. That's the Stoic path. Not a life without emotion, but a life where emotion bows to reason. Not a life without ambition, but ambition that serves your soul. Not a life without pain, but a life where pain becomes your teacher. So I'll leave you with this. Next time you feel that impulse, whether it's to quit, lash out, run, indulge, prove, hide, pause, breathe, and ask, is this impulse trying to protect me or control me? Is this the voice of my highest self, or just fear in disguise? Is this moment shaping the person I want to become? And if the answer is no, then don't follow it. Because the moment you choose principle over impulse, that's the moment you reclaim your life. That's the moment you become free. That's the moment you win. So now it's your turn. Don't just watch this video. Don't just feel inspired. Act. Pick one impulse, one area where you've been reacting, not choosing. And today, right now, take back control. Because success doesn't come from one big choice. It comes from mastering the 1,000 small choices no one ever sees. That's the Stoic way. And it's yours, if you're willing to earn it. Thank you for watching. Now go live like a warrior of reason. If you found even one truth in this video that hit your soul, do something brave. Comment with the one impulse you're ready to conquer. No masks, no filters, just raw truth. Let's build a community of warriors who refuse to be ruled by reaction and rise through reflection.